Hello everybody, it's Jazzy and welcome to another base tour video. I am here with all my crew. We got Wobie Glommer, Chester Wobot, Bearger's growling. Bearger growls most autumns these days. There's actually an interesting bug going on right now where if Armored Bearger is still alive in your world, then regular Bearger still attempts to spawn. And since I like to keep Armored Bearger alive, use him for farming trees whenever I want to, it means we get a lot of autumns where Bearger's growl is just part of the ambiance. Anyways, in case you're wondering, no need to be concerned. Armored Bearger is alive and well. This is my Walter world, and I started this world during the beta of the 3 skill trees. I did pretty long-running worlds with all 3 of the characters. I did like a 500-day world with Wartox, and then I started playing as Walter. The beta ended, the update went live, and I was having so much fun playing as Walter, I figured I'd keep it going. And, you know, we moved into the Oasis, and we've been doing some good work, I think. So I'm going to show you around today, but before we get started, let me just show you the skill tree that I've been using. I consider this more of a late game skill tree. I've removed most of the scouting skills at this point, especially, like, the one that lets you make Wobie snacks and the one that gives you the portable drying rack, because once you have drying racks, you can just dry all your monster meat on there, and then once you make enough Wobie snacks, then you don't really need to have the skill all the time. If I ever need to make more Wobie snacks, I'll go to the Celestial Portal, I will give myself the skill, I'll make a crap ton of snacks, and then I'll remove the skill and put it back into something more helpful in day-to-day Walter survival, such as the ammo pack, or like messing around with different ammo types. I actually use shock scrap for a build I will show you in a moment. But let's get started. Let's start touring the base, and Bearger can join us if he shows up. This is my chest zone. It's got most of the stackable items that I need in this game. I collected quite a bit of sprout rocks, and because of that, I didn't need to clear the ruins nearly as much as I have on previous long-running worlds, and it's been nice, especially for green gem farming. This is the chest zone for stuff that does not stack, so any item that doesn't stack goes into this chest zone. Pretty basic. Over here, made a couple of campsites for Walter, and the trees are since petrified, except for the ones that I actually remembered to spray. Here is my farm down here, and on the outside there's 14 of these individual spots with crop storage. You know, is Bearger gonna just keep growling, like, forever? Hang on a second. Okay, I think Bearger went home for now. Anyways, this is my farm plot. This is where I store seeds and extra crops in these individual spots around the farm. Here is a trapped bright shade. I use it so that I can farm in peace without getting more bright shades infesting over here. And also, if I grab any berry bushes and I want to grow them just to spray them and use them as decoration, I'll plant them around here in proximity to the bright shade, so that I don't have to worry about lure plants infesting them. And down here, I think one of these might be a mimic, actually. Yeah, that guy. This is my grass farm. Works the same way as other grass farms that I've had in the past. Lazy Forager, Reaper, you just reap your way all the way through and forage. But I don't need any grass right now, so we're not going to do that. Oh, I guess I could use some grass. Okay, moving on. I want to show you an idea that I've been developing more for building and for expanding builds. You see this build right here? I basically started with this zone that I didn't really know what to do with. I just started throwing some stuff in there, picking a couple basic building blocks like, you know, marble shrubs and sprout rocks, geode fruit, some rotten asparagus in the corner, you know, some stone furniture, some relic chairs. And then I thought, you know, I really like this theme. I want to expand this into, like, half of a biome. I want to, like, really take this idea and run with it. And that's kind of what I did with this zone over here. And we're going to cut through a couple other zones, but you'll see. I basically took that idea and I stretched it out into a bunch of different zones. Same general idea, you know, sprout rocks, marble trees, and lots of decoration. These are all sprayed marble shrubs. So I was re-rolling a lot of planted marble shrubs to get the shapes that I wanted and the color schemes that I want. So you see, like, you can actually get marble shrubs that match sometimes. You can get, you know, designs like this that are symmetrical. So yeah, and I want to do more of that kind of, you know, starting with like a brainchild example of a theme for a biome and then just stretching that out. I made this bee field a little more recently. A lot more recently than I care to admit, because honey has become an important part of Walter's diet. So we got some gloom thorns. I threw a couple of carnival trees down here. Oh yeah, there's one other thing we gotta talk about. The Marauder farm. The idea behind this farm is that you shoot the bright shade, it aggroes the marauders, and then it kills the marauders. And this was presumably going to help me get message bottles. Unfortunately, I've run this farm maybe 6 or 7 times, and I have yet to get a single message bottle, so I've honestly stopped using it quite a bit. It's a good farm for like meat and morsels, but the marauders only respawn every 6 days or so. Oh, a couple decorational spots down here. I did get a decently sized body of water right next to the oasis, so I wanted to throw some of the waterlog trees into this area. So I got a pretty unique setup for an oasis. This is not something that I usually... It's not the general vibe that I usually try to get out of this biome, but I think it looks nice. Oh, another thing I like to do, I'll plant the above average trees, and then depending on where the figs spawn, sometimes I'll build docks and builds around those figs to accommodate them and to provide access to them. So you see right here, I got 4 figs dangling right here, so I figured, okay, let's put some docks down and let's make a little, you know, dock lookout spot that also keeps access to all the figs, if that makes sense. But I like the idea of just kind of letting the game tell you what it wants from you with all the randomly spawning stuff. You know, they give you a pond next to the oasis, we'll throw some trees in. They give you a bunch of figs in one place, build a dock. Up here is my resurrection zone. Meat FG, starter items in the chest if I need it. Yeah, you see, I really push for message bottles early on in the run so that I can get a good starting supply of sprout rocks and have them available for farming gems passively. Same with gloom thorns. Over here, you see these 2 strips of land. These are basically nurseries for the exotic trees. So when I get surprising seeds out of sunken chests, I'll plant them in this turf, and then no matter what season you're in, if it's on the right turf, it'll grow into a little sprout, and then you can dig up the sprout and put it into one of these chests, and it's more useful for keeping track of which seeds correspond to which tree. I just like to turn them all into sprouts, saplings, whatever, and then I'll store them like that until I know where I want to plant them. Got a little drying rack zone up here, and here is my kitchen. Now is probably a good time to talk about Walter's diet. Here are the contents of my polar bear bin. I still think that meaty stew is good for Walter. It's efficient, even though Walter's max hunger is only 110. The thing is, and there's 2 curveballs, I might talk about this in the video. The first curveball is Walter's max hunger is low. But the second curveball is you're using monster jerky to make Woby snacks. So that leaves you with, you know, a couple weird considerations. But the other thing is I want to keep my health topped off all the time with Walter, otherwise he starts to lose sanity. So because of that, I've made some of the lower hunger dishes with a little bit of health provided the main staple of Walter's diet. So that includes dragon pie and honey ham. Now that I've got honey, both of those are really easy to make. So those have kind of been my two main staples for Walter's diet in the past, want to say 500-600 days. Okay, let's move on. The heck did I build over here? Crab packs. Plenty of crab packs. Decorations. Here's my turf storage. 3 elastispace scaled chest. Holds pretty much all of the turf that I need to. Technically, if I were to make every type of turf in the game, this would not be able to accommodate it, but I mean, I rarely need that much variety of turf anyway. Like, I make what I need and then I kind of trash the rest. Here is my Mimic Construction Amulet Zone. These are all mimics, except for this one. That's the real one. But these are all fake, so that I can use the mimic trick to duplicate items like Dreadstone over and over, completely for free. And yeah, put the Forest Stalker up here, put the Dreadstone walls along here, harvest as much Dreadstone as needed. What else we got? This is Antlion Zone down here. That's where she gets killed. Over here I made a little, couple different bunny zones. Rabbit village? I guess you'd call it a rabbit village. I don't know what I was doing. Rabbit hutches, some sprayed giant crops, and the actual bunnies. Alright, I'm gonna show you this build over here, which I am quite proud of. This is my Volt Goat pen. It currently has 3 herds in it, and the safety goats are over on Lunar... Yeah, they're over there. 3 herds right now. The way it works, and this is why I have the Shock Scrap skill. Shock Scrap rounds will electrify Volt Goats. So, if, in theory, I wanted to make ice cream, which I rarely do, I have banana shakes, but just in case, or if I say I wanted to farm some meat, I don't know, I charge a Volt Goat, and the Houndius immediately aggroes onto it. And then it will kill the Volt Goat, but I could also help it out if I wanted to. But yeah, Shock Scrap rounds are a really nice way for Walter to farm up milk, make ice cream, waffles, whatever you use your dairy for. Okay, I got one more build I want to show you, and before I show it to you, I'm going to wait until nighttime, because this road is best experienced at night, if you know what I mean. Alright, here we go. Let us travel. This was super fun building in winter. I got pangolins, as you can see. Over here is my cat coons. I put a cat coon zone, or kit coon zone, on every Mega Base world because for me, the easiest way to farm lucky coins is to play the hide and seek minigame. It's basically a guaranteed 17 lucky coins every day, so I can buy almost 3 of these Jubilantern posts every day. And for me, it's just like by far the most consistent event for getting lucky coins. Not to mention the cat coons and the deciduous force, which will also just passively drop red pouches for you. Alright, you ready? I was finishing up this world around the time the Balatro crossover happened. So I re-rolled the world a couple times until I got a good generation for Jimbo, which was close enough to the Oasis in this rocky biome. Really nothing else going on. I wish we could move it, but this location was good enough for building purposes, so I made a little mini casino combined with Midsummer Carnival decorations. These are the backpack skins from the Lab Rat release, the promotional. Here's where I farm all of my tickets if I need more decorations. There's Jimbo. And there's the casino from hell. And that, I believe, is it. I'm gonna run back over to the main base just to make sure there was no other builds that I wanted to show you, but I think that might be all. Yeah, I believe that is all. I think I showed you all of the builds. Honestly, didn't expect to be playing as Walter for this long. One thing that helped decide to keep it for a while was the Krampus sack on year 1. That's always a big plus. But also, I mean, for me, the biggest benefit to playing as Walter was the really easy access to speed, a real passive way of dealing with most bosses in the game, and a ton of expanded inventory space, which when it comes to building stuff and moving items around, it really saves an unbelievable amount of time. So I think Walter is a pretty good choice for late game basing. Not to mention all of the access to all the different rounds that you're able to make, which I mean for a builder, for a designer, it's just been so dreamy. Like, this was the first time I messed around with using rounds as like roads to cut through parts of builds and biomes. Using like the pebble rounds up here for building little mini cobble roads through some of these zones. So yeah, I think Walter is in a really excellent place right now. The maintenance on him is not terrible at all. And I think his kit in particular just unlocks so much versatility in the late game, and it's been a real pleasure playing as him for the last 1,000 days or so. Anyways, I believe that is it for the base tour. If there's interest, I'm happy to put a world download link in the description. Let me know. But until next time, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for hanging on the streams. It's nice to have company while designing, turf. Have a lovely day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.